Even Nolan, or of course you can text us 81771. It's all there on your screen. Right, let's move on. Politicians always divide opinion, but surely very few of them do that more than my next guest, the MP George Galloway. A fiery, brave, independent voice, or a dangerous, self-seeking agitator? Take your pick. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome George Galloway. Hello there. Good to see you. Right, so you were booked to come on the show quite a while ago, but what a night, I guess, coincidentally, for you to be on. Indeed. What's your reaction to what our First Minister in Northern Ireland has said in terms of his support for Pastor McConnell?
Well, I felt like I was on the set of Mississippi Burning. I felt like Gene Hackman in the barber shop. In fact, your staff had to hold me back from coming on and confronting the kind of mindless, ignorant bigotry to which your audience has just been treated. And I really don't think you should underestimate just how grotesque that first item was. A YouTube classic, and not in a good way. This will travel.
He has the support of our First Minister.
Well, that is the point. You see.
Now, the DUP have, just one second, the DUP have been in touch with us tonight to say that under no circumstances has the First Minister said that he does not trust all Muslims. And the DUP want to make that very clear. They just haven't taken the opportunity to come in here and make it clear there was an open seat for them. Where on earth are they?
Well, you see, otherwise it would just be the case of a embarrassingly foolish old man who thinks that Muslims follow Sharara law, a word that he mispronounced at least 11 times.
He's got a lot of support.
Well, otherwise it would just be that. It's the fact that powerful people here in this government worship in his ministry every Sunday, and that the First Minister, no less. And I heard the car crash interview Peter Robinson gave today.
To the Irish News. He gave that interview to the Irish News.
There is no point in now saying that in no circumstances does he not trust Muslims. I heard him say 3 times a magic number.
He spelled out circumstances in which he would not trust Muslims. He would, for example, trust a Muslim to go to the shop for him.
Yes, quite.
He would
work around the house, maybe.
Muslims to go to do other everyday tasks for him.
Yes, that was very kind of him. But the offence that will have
He didn't say everyday tasks for him. He said everyday tasks. Everyday life.
Have you any, I mean, you said it was on Channel 4 News tonight. It's on Al Jazeera News. This is travelling like wildfire across the Muslim world, that the First Minister of this place endorsed that man who said, and you were shy.
He defended him. He didn't endorse everything he said. He defended him.
Well, he defended him so resolutely that you cannot now slip sixpence between that pastor and Peter Robinson. That's how it will be seen in the world. So best not go looking for any investment from the Islamic world anytime soon. Best not go looking for any tourists who don't want to visit the set of Mississippi Burning anytime soon. This is madness. This shows this place as a 400-year-old throwback. I mean,
what would happen if David Cameron said something similar?
It'd be already out. If any minister or any shadow minister in Britain had said what Peter Robinson said today, he would already have resigned or been forced
hold on a second.
to do so.
So a First Minister isn't allowed anymore. Some people might admire him because he has stood up and he has defended a man under pressure. He's defended a man who you don't know, who I don't know, who he has known for 20 years. I'll tell you what he's also defended, something that you share with him. He's defended free speech.
Well, it's not...
You're a big advocate of free speech.
Not hate speech, I'm not. This pastor said Muslims...
Pastor denies it's hate speech. The police haven't even contacted him.
Well, that speaks volumes too. This pastor said Muslims were the spawn of the devil. Do you get that? The spawn of the devil. He
said the faith. He didn't say Muslims, he said the faith. He said Islam, the Islamic faith.
That's a distinction without a difference.
Well, people from different religions argue about religion all the time.
Do you think the Bangladeshi shopkeeper or the Pakistani doctor here in Belfast or elsewhere here in the north of Ireland makes that distinction? He believed that they were talking about him, not their faith abstractly. And if something happens now, if a hair on the head of any of the 4,000 Muslims here is now harmed, who do you think will be blamed? And how big a story do you think that that will be? And
Peter Robinson, our First Minister's made it clear he does not support violence.
Well,
he's made it very clear.
That's somewhat problematic in itself, but I don't want to intrude on Irish political matters in this discussion. He had the opportunity to finish this story today. He could have said, actually, I don't agree with the words that the pastor used, but he's a decent man. I've known him for 20 years. But I would never have used that language. He could have done that.
Is there not an issue with the Islamic faith, George? Is there not an issue that some people who adhere to an interpretation of Sharia law support a woman in Sudan being given 100 lashes and executed because she's committed adultery?
No,
is that not an issue?
We should denounce it, but it happened in Sudan. It has nothing to do with the Muslims in Britain.
And you're telling me there would be no Muslims in Britain who would follow Sharia law, who would support that?
I know of no Muslim, and I represent tens of thousands of them in Parliament.
And there's no issue...
I know of no Muslim. And I defy you to produce one.
And there's no issue of Islamic extremism in Britain?
Oh, there is.
None?
There is. And this man you had sitting here is one of the leading men who condemns it. And I condemn it. There is Islamic extremism. Do you think the pastor's words and Robinson's support of them will help or hinder Islamic extremism in Britain? Will it make people more fanatic, more angry, or less fanatic and less angry? This was a grossly irresponsible interview Peter Robinson gave this morning. He set fire to an issue that would have actually died out, would have just been put down to another crackpot pastor in Northern Ireland.
Is this about you and your Respect Party?
That's what it would have been done. That's what it's been done. And by the way,
it's about you and your Respect Party courting the Muslim vote. Is that what's going on here?
Listen, I'm of Irish Catholic background. I used to hear these pastors...
I don't even know if you're a Muslim or not. I don't know. Are you? I don't know.
It's none of your business what I am. I'm telling you this. There were plenty of pastors here used to talk about Catholics in that language. Used to call us the spawn of the devil. The Pope, the Antichrist. Most people in Britain thought that the north of Ireland was getting away from all that. Thought that the peace process was bringing you into the century the rest of us are all in. Peter Robinson just tore all that up today. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Well, this story could go away, couldn't it?
Well, it was on British national news tonight. I'm telling you, it's on the news all over the Muslim world. And if we're unlucky, they'll be clipping the Nolan Show right now for tomorrow night's news. Here's someone talking about Sharara law. Sharara law. He doesn't even know the words that he's denouncing. He knows nothing about the religion he's smearing in such a comprehensive way. So that dignified young man that sat opposite him was a hero.
So why do you think he has so many supporters then?
Well, that's the worrying thing. How many
is that not a democracy?
Well, I think that decent Christian Protestant people should disassociate themselves wholesale and quickly from this fanatic that you had on here.
There's a guy here who wants to speak to you. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Grey shirt, go ahead. Where do we get a mic to you? I'm going to mic to you. Wait there.
What I'd like to say to George is this: you're scaremongering, okay? The man was in his own church, in his own assembly, for 40 years teaching people, raising them up for protection for their own family, to raise up family in a right order, to respect every person. That's why he's respected in his church. The media came in and listened to what he was saying on the platform. Then they manipulated it and brought him out into the world and turned around and told him he was telling people he didn't trust them. Trust.
No, we didn't. Hold on a minute.
Listen.
I'm sorry. You listen. The media didn't tell him anything. The media asked him.
No, the media manipulated him. The media manipulated everything he said. He was talking in context of a theological sermon.
Can we talk rather than just shouting over each other?
One second.
You need to.
For the hate Christians. Right. And I'm telling you now, the Christians are starting to stand up. we're not having it no more.
Right, okay.
It's as simple as that.
And so do you mistrust all Muslims?
Trust is built through knowing people.
Right, so he doesn't...
No, hold on, listen. So how do you trust Pastor McConnell? Why don't you go to his church for 6 months? Then come out and tell me he's a bigot. He's not a bigot. He's a man of God who's turned around and brought Catholics and Protestants together here for 40 years. George is a scaremonger. Everywhere he goes, he wants media attention. He wants to turn around and get his face on TV.
Okay.
He's a scaremonger, and that's all he's here doing.
Okay.
Away back to Britain.
Thank you very much. As far as I can see, there's only one person shouting here, and it's you. You can, of course, reply to that. The mic's gone. The mic's gone.
Well,
go ahead.
There was a rather disturbing number of people who found that contribution worth applauding.
As they're entitled to do.
Indeed, but it's still disturbing. If it's not disturbing to you, it's certainly disturbing to me. The media did nothing in this story. He wasn't just speaking in his church. His sermons are online to the world.
Yes, George.
And his words were not manipulated. Who are you going to believe, me or the evidence of your own eyes? Your own eyes. Your own eyes.
Hold on, the mic. Look, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Right, you need to let George finish. You need to let George finish. Thank you. Go ahead, George. Keep going. Go ahead, George.
Who are you going to believe, me or the evidence of your own eyes and your own ears? You saw and heard what he said. He praised Enoch Powell. He said that Powell had been right. He said that Islam was the spawn of the devil. He said that he didn't trust Muslims. He didn't say he didn't trust Islam. He didn't trust Muslims. He said there were some say there are some good Muslims in this country. Okay. Maybe so, but I don't trust them.
There's a young lady here, white shirt, go ahead.
Oh, hello. I was just going to respond to that gentleman's response there. He says it was taken out of context, Pastor McConnell's views, but we literally just seen him in context in front of the whole nation saying, yes, he does not trust Muslims, so it is in context.
And let's come back to the issue. What do you say to, some politicians are pretty mealy-mouthed. Some politicians, Peter Robinson made the point today, all of a sudden it's all right to mistrust all politicians. How come that's not similar?
I believe freedom of speech, it is an absolute given right.
That's what Peter Robinson's standing up for, is it not?
We have, the problem with Peter Robinson is that he speaks of authority, and he needs to have, responsibility in what he says. He has a very, very public profile and a platform, and he needs to take responsibility. And if he has those views, that's his prerogative. And
last word to you, George. What do you think needs to happen now? Does there need to be clarity from the First and Deputy First Minister? Do you think it's on that scale?
I think unless Peter Robinson comprehensively withdraws the things he said this morning, then he must be deemed not fit for office. Now, I must tell you, I always thought...
Well, that's for the Northern Irish public to decide, isn't it? Not you.
Well, it is.
Ballot box.
It is, but as far as I know, Peter Robinson wants Northern Ireland to be part of the United Kingdom. As a member of the United Kingdom Parliament, I'm telling you that the overwhelming view in Britain, if not here in Northern Ireland, is that this man is not fit for office if these are the kind of things he's going to say.
Here's my final question, because we're out of time. It may be a case at the next general election, who knows what way that'll all churn out, but it may be the case that the Conservatives, that Cameron would need the DUP support. Can you see David Cameron taking flack now across the water if he aligns himself or joins up with the DUP and some guys because of how it would be interpreted, or not? Will it be gone by then, a year down the line?
Well, a year will go past quickly enough. I think it would quickly come up again. But David Cameron's fate is of no interest to me. But the fate of the people here is of great and familial and historic interest to me. And I just feel very sad as
Okay.
most people will, to hear the kind of things we've heard tonight and to hear the applause that Mr. Bigot there got.
Well, hold on a minute. Well, hold on a minute. Wow. Okay, we're out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank our guest tonight, George Galloway. George, thank you. And off he goes. He's gone already. Now, roll up. Duffy Circus is in Belfast this week, but there is criticism surrounding the company's Now, the DUP have, just 1 second, the DUP have been in touch with us tonight to say that under no circumstances has the First Minister said that he does not trust all Muslims. And the DUP want to make that very clear. They just haven't taken the opportunity to come in here and make it clear there was an open seat for them. Where on earth are they? Even Nolan, or of course you can text us 81771. It's all there on your screen. Right, let's move on. Politicians always divide opinion, but surely very few of them do that more than my next guest, the MP George Galloway. A fiery, brave, independent voice, or a dangerous, self-seeking agitator? Take your pick. The Minister in Northern Ireland has said in terms of his support for Pastor McConnell.
Well, I felt like I was on the set of Mississippi Burning. I felt like Gene Hackman in the barber shop. In fact, your staff had to hold me back from coming on and confronting the kind of mindless, ignorant bigotry to which your audience has just been treated. And I really don't think you should underestimate just how grotesque that first item was. A YouTube classic, and not in a good way. This will travel.
He has the support of our First Minister.
Well, that is the point.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome George Galloway. Hello there. Good to see you. Right. So, you were booked to come on the show quite a while ago, but what a night, I guess, coincidentally, for you to be on. Indeed. What's your reaction to what our First Minister